Hi, Liam Ward here at LearnTheHarmonica.com with another bonus lesson for you. Thanks to JP for having me back. We're looking at the Junior Wells tune, Hoodoo Man Blues. In this lesson we're using a C harmonica, but the original track itself is played on a D harmonica. Now there's only 3 lines of tab to get through, which will come up on the screen when we look at them. I wanted to do more quality than quantity for this lesson. There is a solo later on and there's a tiny little line on the outro. There isn't that much more. But I wanted to just look at the intro because I want this to serve as a little bit of a lesson for structurally what he's doing in this intro, because it's a common thing and a really good bit of knowledge for you to have, and also the techniques he's using, just making sure you're playing those right. So hopefully you'll pick up some new skills and ideas. So the intro that Junior Wells plays for this is a really cool bit of harmonica playing, but not just that, it's part of a very common form of blues intros to songs. Now you may or may not be familiar with the 12-bar blues structure, and I don't want this to become a lesson on a 12-bar blues structure because there are other lessons on that. I've done one, JP might have one, there's loads out there. But for now I'm just assuming that you kind of got a general knowledge of a 12-bar blues. So I've got on the screen the chord layout for a typical 12-bar blues. Now what he's doing in the intro is he's playing as if he's playing those last 4 bars. So I'm going to highlight those last 4 bars and he's playing over those chords. It's very common at the start of a blues song to not start at the start of those 12-bar blues. So you're not starting with a full kind of progression through those 12 bars. It's very common to use those bottom 4 bars, those last 4 bars, as an intro. And that's exactly what he does. There's quite a lot going on. There's some bends. There's even possibly a bit of tongue slapping, which I'm going to talk about. And there's some little glissandos, kind of rips up and down. So, really cool stuff to get into. You'll see the tab on your screen now, and let's have a little go. So line A goes a little bit something like this. I'll just play it first, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so if I slow that down, we've got 4 draw, 5 blow, 4 draw, 5 draw, and then we have 5 draw 3 times, and then 4 draw, 5 blow, 4 draw. Okay, now you might be wondering why have I said it in 2 parts there. I think sometimes it's useful to split lines up into 2 parts so that you can kind of take them in bite-sized chunks rather than trying to memorize too much at once. So you could think that of that as those 2 parts, and I've kind of put a space in the middle of the line in the tab. Now there are 4 5 draws in the middle, but I think he holds the first one ever so slightly longer. It's not significantly longer, but it's just kind of, it's more flowing legato than staccato, kind of choppy, that first one. So he goes, it's not even that much. So it's da 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 da. Anyway, so the line we've got, and I mentioned there might be a little bit of tongue slapping in this. I think with that first line there's a little bit of a chordal sound. Now it might just be him kind of moving between the holes, getting to that 4 draw, but I think he also might be just slapping that first note. So what I'm doing with that is I'm tongue blocking holes 1 to 4. So I've got my mouth over holes 1 to 4, and then my tongue is going to block 1, 2 and 3, so I just play 4. If you're a tongue blocker, you'll be aware of this technique. If not, it'll be a little alien and a bit scary for you. But what I'm doing to get a tongue slap is just applying my tongue onto the instrument. So I get a chord and then I get the single note. Now, I don't hear really any of that anywhere else in the solo, but possibly that first note. And you get that kind of distinctive sound. It's something I use a lot in my playing. I think it's a really nice sound, and so I try and use it where I can. You could use it more. You could do a kind of... I mean, that's doing it on every note. Or you could do somewhere in between. But it's a really useful technique. Again, check out lessons on tongue blocking and tongue slapping to learn more about that. But that's something that's in there, and it's something that by just looking at a tab, you don't always get that and understand what's happening there. So I wanted to mention it because it's something that goes beyond just the numbers on the page. So that's our line A. Now, in terms of tab, it's not so difficult. Not a lot of bends or anything. Well, no bends in there. So it's just a case of getting the rhythm and getting comfortable with that. Line B starts quite similarly, but then it moves down and has a lot of bends in it. So it kind of varies from halfway. So line B sounds something like this. Okay, so if you're looking at the 12-bar structure and wondering where this bit is, this is kind of from the 4 chord into the 1 chord. Don't worry, that means nothing to you. So we've got 4 draw, 5 blow, 4 draw, 5 draw, and then we have 6 blow 6 times. So it's quite kind of repetitive at that point and really kind of hitting those 6 draws powerfully. And then we have a 4 draw bend. So jumping from that 6 blow to the 4 draw is difficult. And then a 4 blow, 3 draw semitone bend, 2 draw full step bend, tone bend, and then 2 draw again. Now I fluffed the bend on the 4 draw then a little bit because it's tricky to get from that 6 blow to that 4 draw. These are the little things that I talk with my private students about, kind of zooming into a line and concentrating on sometimes 4 notes, 3 notes, 2 notes, even 1 note sometimes. Really, really getting in close and studying something. This idea, again, which I said at the start of the lesson, of quality over quantity. Now, it might be that that line is difficult, but it could be that really the difficult part of it is not, for example, playing lots of 6 notes after each other, but playing a 6 note to a 4 draw bend. That's just an example. That's something I find difficult, and for me that's a difficult part of the line. Your parts of the line that you might struggle with may be different from mine, but the point still stands that there is no point repeating a whole song or even a whole line if there's one little bit of it that you're struggling with. You may as well work on that one little bit and then pan out and put it into the context of a line and then the context of a song. So if that's a part you're struggling with, concentrate on that. Towards the end of the line as well, this sort of thing is going to be make or break. Getting these bends in tune is going to be make or break for getting the song sounding right. If you don't get those quite right, it's not the same thing, you know. And on harmonica, I'll let you into a little secret here. If you get your bends in tune, you will stand out from so many players, because it's very easy as a harmonica player, because you can't see these things, and because they have to then be a kind of a mental, kind of psychological thing. It's mind over matter. Because of that, as opposed to like a guitar where you can kind of see what you're doing, we tend to be a bit lazy and we let things go, and other musicians let us off as well. So if you work on these things, you'll make the playing stand out by getting those in tune and kind of show that you can do that and you've done the work. So I would recommend with line B as well that to the end of that line, really getting those bends as in tune as possible. I use a chromatic tuner. Don't get confused by the word chromatic. These are diatonic harmonicas. Chromatic is often seen as an alternative to that because there's chromatic harmonicas. A chromatic tuner is just something that will tell you all the notes, if you like, all the kind of notes that you want to look for with your bends. So get yourself a chromatic tuner so you can work on where those notes are. Just so you know what notes you're looking for, the 4-draw bend is a D flat or a C sharp. They kind of mean the same thing in this context. And then a 3-draw semitone bend is a B flat. And then the second bend on 2 is an F. So they'd be the notes you're looking for on the tuner. So if we put those two lines together, A and B, it sounds like this. And if you were referring back to your 12-bar blues map again, we'd be right onto the last 2 bars now. So we're onto the 1 chord, and we're just going to do our little turnaround to finish. It's a really, really cool little turnaround line C, and it sounds something like this. Okay, so we've got 3-draw semitone bend, and then 4 blow, and then 4-draw bend, 4 blow, 3-draw semitone bend, 2-draw, and then we have a 3-draw, semitone bend, and then a 4-draw where we slide down past the 3 onto the 2, and we play that 2-draw twice, and then we go 2-draw, 1-draw. Okay, lots of stuff there. So let me play the first half up to the 2-draw in the middle. Da, 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 da. This is a really cool turnaround lick, and it's kind of a nice one that you could apply to a lot of different contexts. And again, you want to work on those bends, try and get those as in tune as possible. They are the same bends that we were working on before, so I don't need to give you the notes. But yeah, still need that work done on them. And then the second half. Okay, so that's the 3-draw semitone bend, and then that's what is called a glissando or a rip or a slide. What I'm doing is with one breath, I'm playing a 4-draw and then a 3-draw and then a 2-draw. In the tab, I've got a 4-draw arrow 2-draw. That's because it's quite quick, and the 3-draw isn't really a melodic note. It's just a passing tone, a grace note as I slide down. So you can hear it, but I'm not pausing on it at all. And then there's a nice little, which is like, I almost wanted to put it in brackets. And the reason is that I put things in brackets sometimes if they're quite quiet or not really part of the melody as such, but more grace notes, more kind of just a little tag on the end. So it's just a 2-draw and then a 1-draw. I did slow this track down and have a listen to it, and I was thinking, is he bending that 2-draw? I'm not sure he is, so I'm just going to put a 2-draw natural note. And you can maybe even slide off the end of the harmonica to choke that 1-draw. So what I mean is if you pass the 1-draw, again it becomes like a passing note. And you almost don't hear it. But if you put it together, there's a lot in there, so please remember quality over quantity. Think about your bends, getting them in tune. Think about whether you want to do that tongue slap in there. Think about the glissando, the slide of the note. And also just generally about getting each note nice and clean. One of the distinctive things about Junior Wells playing is he could play things very fast but very clean, and you would hear every note. So that's something you want to try and imitate in your playing. If you're doing a song like this where you're playing as a great kind of harp legend played, you want to try and get the style as well as the notes that they were playing, so try and get them as clean as possible. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed looking at this intro to Hoodoo Man Blues. I hope you've got some tips and ideas out of it. Thank you again to JP for having me. If you've enjoyed my lesson, please click like and put your comments beneath, and I'll try and visit JP's channel and answer anything if there's anything for me. Also head over to my channel, learntheharmonica.com. Thank you for being here with me today, and good luck with your playing. I'll see you soon. Cheers.